expansion began in 1803 when Thomas Jefferson, our third U.S. president, purchased a territory called Louisiana, which doubled the size of the young nation. Now, why am I telling you this? Hi, my name is Sasha Khan, and I'm here to tell you the story. The story of the pioneers and Native Americans. How many lost, how many traveled, and how our ancestors got to this land and created what we now call the West. Obviously, as pioneers traveled westward, each wagon could only hold 2,500 pounds, meaning they could only pack minimal supplies, which is why many times they couldn't pack the right medication. And that was one of the main causes of death, which were diseases. And now I'm going to have Dr. Nguyen tell us about that.
Hi, I'm Dr. Nguyen, and on the Oregon Trail, many deaths were caused by a plethora of diseases. According to the National Oregon/California Trail Center, many diseases included cholera, smallpox, flu, measles, mumps, and tuberculosis. Out of all these diseases, cholera was the most prominent. According to the National Park Service, or NPS, cholera was usually treated using medications such as camphor and lenina, but victims often died within a matter of hours, which made it hard for people to treat. Since pioneers on the trail carried minimal supplies, they often didn't have the medications in order to treat it.
So, thank you, Dr. Nguyen. First of all, Mexican-American War started in 1846 and ended in 1848. Now, though it may have seemed like a small war, in reality, America sent a lot of troops to the Mexican front. And when the war ended, many Americans, instead of going back to their former lives, they decided to remain in the area to start building a new life. Not only that, but the Federal Donation Land Act in 1850 meant that many pioneers traveling to Oregon gained up to 32 acres of land. Not only that, but the California Gold Rush began in 1848, offered a chance for people to strike it rich in order to start a new life in the West. Especially in the East, life was pretty bad there. It was overpopulated, and with a small area, people couldn't really get land for themselves. They usually had to live in small townhouses. Federal Indian Removal Act. Now, this was one of the darkest parts of history. This happened under Andrew Jackson's presidency, where he removed many Native Americans from their homes, and he did not give them nearly enough compensation as they should have had. And right now, I'm going to have Mr. Alan Walker talk about this.
Hi, my name is Mr. Walker. I am a historian with lineage from the Cherokee Nation. I will be talking to you about the Trail of Tears. So firstly, it is called the Trail of Tears because you could always hear women, men, and children crying, as well as because they were forcibly removed out of Georgia. Now, when they were removed, the Supreme Court told them, hey, this is messed up, you can't do this, you don't have jurisdiction over them, which means you can't forcibly remove them. And Andrew Jackson, who basically ordered them to be removed, he said, okay, to help them comfortably be removed, we're going to give them wagons and steamboats that that can help them be settle somewhere else more comfortably. He said that he wanted to remove or implement the Federal Removal of Indians Act. He thinks that it was advantageous for the U.S. because he thinks it'll strengthen the states, help us rapidly advance in economics, and he thinks that it will also benefit the Cherokee Nation or the Indians because he thinks it'll help them become more Christian.
Thank you, Mr. Alan Walker. Now, I would just like to say that even though it may seem like the competition was fair, in reality it was not fair to Native Americans. Though they were given a lot of money, a year's worth of assistance from the US government, and everything to make the journey comfortable, in reality, that was not enough. They had to leave the home that they'd known for years. During this time is when the most Native Americans died. At the start of the 18th century, there were 600,000 Native Americans. And by the time the 1900s rolled around, population declined to 237,000. This amount decreased dramatically. More than 50% of all Native Americans died. In reality, it was one of the darkest things that our nation has ever done. What did we learn today? We learned that pioneers, they had to go through so much to get to Westward and to build up our territory. And we know that the Native Americans lost the most. But in reality, both of them struggled equally. But now my time is up, so I would just like to ask, who do you think had it worse? The Native Americans or the pioneers? Thank you.